I
or
could carry the
maybe a
conversation.
second, or
Me and
maybe a
Bird
second
will.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a good time,
Yeah.
boys. So, hey, welcome in, guys. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back for the third week. We got our guest, Sweet Tea Paul, Panda Lun. My boy Panda here. He is the best medic I know. I'm gonna let him introduce himself from there.
Yeah, my name is Panda One. I am the 104th medic. Love to play medic. That's all I do, and that's all I probably will ever do. Yeah. All right.
All right, and then we
Now
got our
Paul.
other guest here. We got Sweet Tea Paul, one of the co-founders slash founders of Orcs. He's a regiment leader there, and I'll let him go from there.
Yeah, just co-founder of Orcs. Many of you will probably know Orcs from Chamberlain, and it's pretty much it, really. We do kind of a little bit of everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I know we're all super excited for this dev stream on Tuesday, and I know I kind of got an invite. I'm not sure if that was what that was, but I'm going to try to get into that group with Sweet Tea Paul and Chamberlain, maybe do a few shots, play a little bingo on the dev stream. But this week's podcast is going to be talking about the dev stream, some updates, and just the general stuff we always like talking about, man. I like talking to the community and just seeing what people want in the game, what they want to talk to the devs about. And so the first question I'm going to ask is, what do you hope to see from the dev stream? Go.
You want to go, Panda?
You go ahead, sir.
Oh. I guess the basic is from what usually you hear from everybody is from the dev stream we want an actual quote unquote, the meme, a viable collie sub, hashtag not open top.
No, dude, I want an open top sub. What do you mean, bro?
Yeah. But me personally, with the collie sub, I personally want a smaller sub that's more maneuverable, versatile. That's
Okay.
just me personally. Being my main thing is a builder, so I want huge quality of life for building because I feel like late game building is struggling right now and we need a little bit of an overhaul, a little bit of builder love. Some logi efficiency help, as the map gets bigger, the player base kind of thins out after these update wars. Like during the update war, we get an influx of people, so it kind of helps. But we got to think past the update, so we need more help with logi. And then kind of just quality of life regarding, collie weapons, gear, Vix, and stuff like that. I would like to see some changes, maybe new vehicles for the collies, maybe revamp. And then I think what a lot of us have come to realize is the as Chamberlain would call it, the fun limiter, the hex queue times and the hex size counteracting because we can only have so many people in a hex type of deal. And with the naval update, I know they bumped it. I think we talked about it. It's 130 now to 130. But even then, it's when you have the limiter of, well, if you have 50 collies trying to get into a hex, there needs to be X amount of wardens there. And that kind of throttles
I call it the fun
operations when you're
limiter.
trying to get into the fun limiter.
Yeah, that's what I always call it.
Yeah, the queue times suck.
Yeah.
I actually was talking to someone last night, and he's in the chat now, War Phoenix, and he does some computer programming stuff, and it's out of my area of expertise, but a lot of what they're saying is they're blaming Steam for a lot of these queue outages and queue problems and da 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 da, and everyone keeps blaming servers and da 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 da, but it's when you actually really look at the numbers of what Real Engine can do, I don't think that that's 100% honest from the devs. And again, this out of my area of expertise, and I'm not taking a shot, but Unreal Engine theoretically can have an unlimited amount of players. But another video I saw as well, talking about with what War Phoenix said, Um, the fact that they don't have their own custom engine is really hurting the devs and what they can and cannot do with these queues and with the server stability. They're having a major influx of newer players come from all, and I mean they're all over the world, but when you have this mass influx of new players and then they dilute, it's very weird for them to say that they need to have their peak performance servers at all times, because they look at the numbers too and say, well, after one war, we don't need those servers anymore because they dilute back to, normal. But I feel like as the player base, we're struggling from that, and it's strugglesome to get player retention to stay longer than update war. I know for at least my wars I've been in since '83. Update war, it is max pop, queues everywhere. It's game time. It's game on. War after that, it stays pretty okay. It's pretty good. And then the war after that, it's like, oh my God, why am I here with just privates and there's no one else here? Like, please, for the love of God, I need reinforcements. And then queues even get labeled on top of that. And it's like, I feel your frustration, and I just wanted to quote on that because I don't think it's necessarily the servers that are killing it or the engine. Because a lot of people say it's just their engine. It's just their servers. Realistically, I would put money on it that they could do better with their own custom servers and engine. And also, I think it would be a lot better if they did so. They need to upgrade their hardware if they want in my opinion, if they want the game to thrive more and be more authentic the way they want. Yeah. Also, just to quote what you were saying earlier, Paul, War Phoenix said in chat, we want to open top bunker base. What do you think about that, bro, for the collies? Pretty mint, right?
Get out. But
yeah, so sorry, I just I thought that was a good time to pop that in. I think the servers, I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. I think it's more of a dev problem not wanting to upgrade or do said procedures. I think it's a dev man bad thing. I don't think it's a server man limitation.
Adding on to that, from what I've heard, it was mainly Vivox or like the voice comms. That was the reason why. I mean, if they upgrade that or change it out, then yeah, we can have more server. What's the pop count?
I think right now the pop count, from what I've heard, is 130 versus 130 because it used to be 100 v 100.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's a Vivox issue anymore because they brought back the cross comms, because we used to not be able to talk to wardens, the open micing,
Mm-hmm.
and now we can again. So I feel like maybe that's not as an issue now. Before we go down this topic too much, I'm just curious on Panda's thoughts on anything for the dev stream regarding, since you are medic, any quality of life stuff that you're looking for in regards of medic, whether it's the ambulance, the uniform, the gear, the field hospitals or hospital in general in town type of stuff.
Yeah, thank you. From what I was talking to with the Berg, I wouldn't mind seeing like either like a change in the hospital, like the one you build with 200 BMATs. Instead
the
of
field
having
one?
that,
The field hospital you
yes,
build with VMATs? Okay, yeah. Yep. Just making sure we're on the same page.
switch that out. Switch that out, or change it to a bunker set. Like you add on to the bunker. So with that one, you can deposit like the critically wounded soldiers into them, and that way the supplies go right into the said bunker, which I think that would be a cool idea. But also another one is it's a little issue, and like for me, is that I hate with the first aid kit when I'm healing someone. At least let me move a little bit, like slow me down like 90%, because I'm trying to heal someone, and this is more like a personal take. But I hate when I'm healing someone. They move out of the way because they're getting shot at. I'm stuck in an animation. I can't move, and I get shot and I get killed. And I'm like, dude, you can take the
Yeah,
hits. You can block me.
yeah,
You can help me out. Like I'm healing you. I can't move. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I know with the trauma kit, like yeah, I doesn't need to change. But it's
Yeah,
just that. It's just that like little pet peeve. But yeah.
that's a really good idea. I saw on Reddit that there was someone that wanted a bunker to be, or a bunker piece to be able to go into a field hospital setting, and I, honest to God, think that'd be such a good addition to the medics' capabilities, and to even further that, have the shirts get directly deposited into the bunker. I think it'd give more of an incentive for just a random person to grab a critically wounded, bring it back, and help the cause of just bringing shirts and getting shirts back, or maybe change the field hospital to where when you bring a critically wounded soldier back, you may get a shirt and a blood plasma, or a shirt and a bandage. Just slowly accumulate more and more and more medical stuff into the bunkers, and I think that'd be an incentive for the team to start using the field hospital, aka the new bunker mechanic thing you're talking about. But it also help Logi, because front lines would be more self-sufficient. I think it's a really good idea, actually. It's a good one, Panda. I actually really like that. What do you think about that, Paul?
well, I could go even further on that because I know Chamberlain has said it a couple of times because me and him have talked about it to expand on it as we know that there are pre-built hospitals in certain towns.
Mm-hmm.
How come we can't utilize those more? Whereas those hospitals become, instead of having to go to a factory, those hospitals are where you go to get your shirts, your medical supplies, and all your gear,
Mm.
and you can make it to where those produce shirts as well. Like we have the hospital, besides just making it, a bigger field hospital within a pre-built city, give it more utility instead of clogging up, the factories. But having the ability to build, a field hospital on the front regarding a bunker piece would add more diversity to building. But I think building also needs a lot of diversity as it is now because, you know, kind of dipping a toe into something else regarding building. I think you've heard me enough talk about how,
Yeah.
with the current meta we're in with artillery, late game, there is no benefit to building bases because it takes too long to build and then tech that base while defending it to get to concrete and Howie defenses. No one wants to sit there and build for a couple of hours T2ing structures only to get artied out by 120s, or now we're at 150s and just get artied out completely. They need to implement either a nerf or an increased cost to arty, or give us the ability to make tier 2 Howies, which my thinking is concreted Howies right now are technically 120s. Just make a tier 2 form of 120s, and then you make the tier 3, like when you go to concrete it, then it becomes technically 150 Howies. And then you increase the range because also, as we're seeing now, rail storm cannons are extremely strong for late game. You would then just make tier 3 Howies, which are 150s, able to retaliate against rail storm cannons, but not retaliate against base storm cannons. So, because the new meta, as we know, is now just already out bases, because with the integrity reduction of
Hmm.
Howies, when you place them on your buildings, it destroys the integrity of that structure, which makes it easier to destroy. So that's why now people don't really add Howies to their pieces. They use the Howies as their own 2, 3 piece. I know there's the Y Howie piece that I use and a lot of other people use. And it's kind of trying to mix and match those kinds of things to fit the quote unquote certain meta that we're in. And right now, Artie is king when it comes to going to fronts. As anyone that's played this war and is fighting on the west, trying to push into Farinac Coast, what happens? We pop the borders, we try to build. Warden's locked in already on those border bases. So the second we start building, we get artied out and we can't actually push because we're getting artied out. Because what else could be the counter to that? Because Artie is so strong,
I mean,
especially with facilities now.
you bring up super valid points. There's a lot to unpack with what you're talking about, a multi-layered issue when you talk about Artie in the
Oh, it is. It is extremely multi-layered.
It's a multi-layered thing. You have to, because I mean, if you're talking about getting tier 2 howitzers, which would be 120, that would be great. That being said, you run into the implication now of bases becoming so strong. I mean, sometimes the only way to break a base at times is to have railstorm cannons or storm cannons, and that's a really tough situation, because when you said that to me, the first thing I thought of was what happened to me yesterday at Tomb. They brought 4 railstorm cannons up, and they just absolutely blitzed us. And they put 4 railstorm cannons down, broke the front RD piece, our front piece of defense, and then the bunker, and they rolled 4 chieftains in. I'm just thinking, if we had retaliated with 150s at that point, plus that bridge battle, I don't think the Wardens could have pulled that off. Because without railstorm cannons, essentially some bases would just get too strong. If they got retaliation, like literally it takes like 6 RPGs to kill they're fragile. So if they had retaliation, you'd have to up the health of rails. You'd have to change railstorm cannons as they are, and you'd have to make them cheaper, because the reason they're so effective is they're so expensive. That's the risk of it, you know. And at one point I see railstorm cannons as being too strong, but at the other half of it, I see railstorm cannons as the only way to break impenetrable bases. And then the other layer that you bring that conflict on is, you know, 120s being so cheap and effective as they are, and not having tier 2 howitzer defenses. You know, when we pull up into a hex and there's already guns set there, you know, you brought up 2 arguments now with me, or arguments that I could see, is one being that our 120s are really strugglesome in the counter arty segment, as to their arty is a little bit more well protected and in place with a little bit of extra range. But theoretically, isn't our job as collies to be able to move our arty up in position, hit their guns, and be more mobile? Now you become into a tech situation instead of, you know, they just pound our defenses. Well, it's our job to be mobile and move up and, you know, quick snappy. So now that's why I'm saying it's a multi-layer. I'm not trying to like pick apart your stuff, but I'm just saying, you know, when you say all that stuff, I totally get you. But I'm trying to think of the most easy solution for both sides to have success outcomes. You know what I mean? Like that's very difficult when you start messing.
Oh,
you know, it's
you're not picking
layered.
it apart, because I already have counters to you, baby. I got counters, baby.
Well, again, I'm not.
Well, because you're saying Railstorm has the only way to break a base, but I think what you're forgetting is what people don't utilize: rockets. If you have a Katusha and you shoot 6 Katushas off at a Howie sustained base, by the time your rockets have left, you're driving away. and those Howies cannot hit you. And the same goes for Warden's artillery when they use rockets, except theirs are more viable off land. Because me and Chamberlain did that, where we had 3 to 4 Katyushas firing into a concreted Howie base, and by the time the Warden base fired its Howies back, we were already driving away. It's just we're not utilizing our tools properly. You don't need to buff the Railstorm Cannon at all, because the Railstorm Cannon can be shooting from another hex. It's still a storm cannon. The only way to really stop a storm cannon is to rush it, but sometimes it's just not viable to get to it because it is in a hard location. And then regarding the 120 argument, where the Wardens have 300 range and we have 250 range with our 120s, but we're more mobile, you have to understand with the Warden 120s, they are in place and they are far more accurate because they are in place. So the issue is, once you are mobile with a Kali 120, the second you fire, and this is all skill based, once you fire and the enemy spotter sees where you are, their accuracy is so much better than ours, because technically we still need 2 people on the 120 gun to keep it accurate. The second they see you fire from a new location, they can zero you in a lot faster, and they have the range on us for it. So even though mobility is still a little bit stunted because we don't have the range, and God forbid they have a headwind against us,
Oh no, I'm
they're just
saying
gonna stop us.
I think you're misinterpreting what I was. I'm agreeing. Like, what I was getting at is you're starting to open up more like problems in the game with what you were saying there. Is, again, I agree with you. Like, and I've argued that so many times, their 120s being in place, like, once they're set in place and they have ammo rooms, collies have no defense or no way to attack that arty position. Our arty can't outdo their arty, but then the argument is, like, the 120 game isn't fair, but then they can say the exact same thing about our 150, because we have 50 meters on them.
They gain the advantage. Yeah, they gain the advantage early game with Artie, and then we gain it late game. That's the whole roll off. Is they get it early, we get it late. Because I think theirs just stays at 300. Their 120 and 150 stay at 300, where ours goes from 250 to 350. Even though if we're fighting at max range with the 150, it's wildly inaccurate, but it still has that 50 meters.
So my point being, kind of like land back in, I think Artie is in a very weird balanced place right now. I think it's very cheap and effective, almost too effective at times. But the other part is, and Giggles to Wiggle brought up a really good idea in chat. Another idea that could be in place is to have bunkers like, well, I'll say it exactly how you said. In my opinion, we should be able to reinforce bunkers like in real life, where you could have 2.5 and 3.5 bunkers. So that would be another utilization for our metal beams. So when you have a tier 2 piece that's built up, go reinforce it and make it X amount stronger against artillery force, and that's another, benefit that, you're not having to tamper with multiple levels. That's just direct defense versus the, what I mean? You're making it more repair effective and less damage taken with Artie. If you're willing to spend the time to do that.
It's also like, have you seen with the like the relics and town halls, how they have that icon when you're teching them, like the reinforce? It makes so when you scroll over, it says it's stronger to artillery. I don't know if you've ever seen that when you're looking at like town halls and other like safe houses and stuff. They actually, in the tech progression tree within the building, it actually has a symbol that just looks like a square plate, but it's called a reinforced.
And that's
I've seen that.
I think we should be able to have that in our bunkers. I think that'd be a
Yeah,
massive
that's what I'm saying.
thing
They already
to
have it in game.
exactly. And that's,
Yeah,
100% agree. I think it would just again, I'm not trying to pick apart anything. I'm agreeing with you wholeheartedly. I'm just trying to think of the best outcome for everyone, because I'm just thinking of
well,
the
the
Railstorm
question
Cannon
here's
guys.
the question, Berg.
What's that?
We're talking about Artie, but who sees Artie the most? It's
Callers.
obviously the medics on the front line.
Yeah.
No, it's medics on the front
Oh,
line. So
yeah.
Panda, what is your concern with Artie trying to save lives and you're just getting shell shocked?
I hate it. I hate it.
We talked about an idea though earlier, Panda. Tell him about that.
We did. So
Your idea
what
was pretty good.
Berg was bringing up was an armored, because you know how we have like an armored truck variant of the hauler. How about an armored variant of said ambulance? You could drive up into the front, heal some people up. I guess they hide inside said ambulance and then just keep on driving around, healing people up. But also going back to said ambulance, me and Bird were just throwing ideas around, and then we thought about what if they change the ambulance? What if they change the ambulance to where you can actually put a live player inside said ambulance, and if you supply it up with trauma kits or no blood plasma and bandages, you can slowly heal said player, and you can heal the player up to mind you, it would take longer. So like it's like 2.5 seconds
Yeah.
to revive a player. It would take like 10 seconds to revive.
So like an
player,
automated
all the way
healing.
fully healed. Mm-hmm.
That yeah. You brought that idea up earlier, and I thought that was really good. Believe it or not, we do talk outside of the podcast, guys. Yeah, these are my friends. Believe it or not.
We do.
Yeah.
Well,
The
to piggyback off that idea real quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how we were talking about, because I know me and Chamberlain and maybe you, Berg, have talked about this. I'm not sure, but I know we have in Orcs. You're talking about that healing. What happens if we have that bunker piece, that field hospital bunker piece, and you can heal in there? You fill it up with bandages.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not plasma, but
Yeah,
bandages
we talked
at
about
least.
that.
But then when
Yep.
you go inside, and you have to manually click, say E, and it starts to heal you.
Yep.
So it's like not like an aura where you just walk in and heal, but you actually physically have to click it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
I got to
Or you drop somebody on the ground and you hit E like you would to submit them to the bed, and then the person pops in the bed, and then instead of maybe being, on a front line where you could just instantly pick someone up within that 1.5 second, maybe you got to sit in the bed for like 3 seconds, 5 seconds while you heal up. But as you're healing, being revived, you're also healing with the bandages as well. So then you get to keep all your stuff, and then you just run back out.
So
but it would give utility to actually having that, field hospital garrison.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that a lot. That's actually a great idea.
something I was talking to Panda about, and having, talking about Artie and stuff. One thing I'd really like to have on the front, and I think Panda said he liked the idea too, is, we kind of lack in armored cars and tankettes, kind of early game or whatever. Something that would be not a massive thing, but a really big boost for medics is maybe give an armored car or a tankette variant. And I'm trying to find the universal carrier, universal.
I don't even think you need to add anything. You would just have to modify the APC that we have.
Actually, that would be perfect. What I'm talking about though is the it's called the Universal British Carrier, and I'm gonna look up the medical configuration. I wish I saved that photo earlier. But essentially, it would be an armored, open top armored personnel carrier that could have 2 slots in the back.
get out of here with this open top talk. I will not stand for any
I'm
open top
just-
vehicles anymore. I am a collie. I have
Do you
suffered
see that?
enough.
Do you see that smile there, guys? That's what that was for. I wanted to say open top, so I knew it'd get his gears.
But in a sense, you would just get a closed top APC with the red cross on top.
Exactly, and
or,
that's
or a medical symbol on top, and you're able to drive up and pick people up in an armored, in a sense, APC for collies and wardens, and then you're able to just pick people up and bring them to the back, and you can even keep the player alive in the APC without actually reviving them. They're just in stasis.
Yep. And again, like that's just something I think would be massive on the front when RD is raining or mortars are coming down. You know, a way for medics to still be able to come up and treat frontline guys and keep them protected. You know, I think you know, I think it would be a really massive boost to our medics' morale, you know, and not getting smashed while just trying to save lives up there. Save shirts, save scrap, you know. I don't know. I think that would be massive, and I don't think it would be too much of an ask, and I think both sides would appreciate it.
Speaking of medic morale, one thing I saw, because I was me and Phoenix was scrolling on Reddit. I don't usually go on Reddit, but there was one thing I started noticing was that there's like this group. It's wardens and collies. They'll actually have like a little forum that or like a little like you can join in, and it's mainly a bunch of medics teaching new medics on how to play the game, and I like that. That's actually a really like cool thing. It's a cool thing for some other people to teach newer medics because one, I'll see some brand new medics like corporal, privates, and even sometimes just sergeants. They just don't know what to do, and I'll teach them, show them what to do. And well, the reason why I like it so much is because I never had that. How I just did was just, what's that term?
Trial by
Trial
fire.
and error.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, trial and error. That's how I learned to become a medic. Was just try new things, reviving, keep on doing it. Like, well, when I say 24/7, but you know, like every day and like a nonstop medic. So to see some like part of the community help out new medics, I love that. Love that.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
awesome.
that's also an issue across the board as collies. I think all of us that have played a while. Me, I started playing back in the early '70s wars, and there has become a different tone to new players, especially as a collie, because I'm mostly like 99.9% collie player. We were more welcoming of new players back then.
What do you mean?
Where now
99?
there's a bit of. I did play one war as a warden. Way back in the day. Way back in the day. Way back in the day.
Get your guns, boys. We got a fucking traitor.
But
nah, it's cool, man.
it's like
Why?
we used to like.
hear
I remember, I remember logging on and seeing like regiments hold training courses for arty, for tanking, for logi, for like all this stuff. And nowadays, when we see new players, I'm constantly seeing, oh, it's an alt. They don't know what they're doing. They're an alt.
We
And
talked about this last
just
week.
aggression towards people.
Where's our tutorial?
Well, the tutorial is the player base. That's why, like me, I'm salty. I'm a salty vet. I admit that I'm salty. I'm a very angry person when it comes to playing on the front, just because I've already put my 4,000 hour plus into the game. But I still find it when someone's new, it's not their fault. We all know the tutorial in the game is dog shit. I have my hate-love relationship with the devs, but sometimes you gotta just take the time and be patient to help new players. Like, I've helped new players that were medics that just show up and they'll just pull out the first aid kit or the trauma kit and they think that's all they need, and I die because of it. And it's just like, you can't get mad in that moment. You just run back to them, find them, and just say, hey, if they don't have voice, then you just type, hey, come over here, you need to get plasma. It's one plasma for a revive. bandages, usually it's if you're reviving someone and then trying to bandage them, it's about 8 ticks of a bandage, because for those that don't know, one bandage for a medic is technically 10 heals in a sense. So usually it uses about 8 ticks out of the 10. So it's like these little things that you have to start teaching these new players, and the same thing goes across the board, teaching people how to do artillery. Artillery isn't the most flashiest thing because we like to see instant gratification. Well, when you're doing arty, the only person seeing instant gratification is the person spotting, because they see where the artillery is landing, what's getting destroyed, what's getting hit. Everyone else is just in the back loading and just hitting left to shoot. So it's hard for people to get interested in arty because you're not seeing it. That's why a lot of people that are doing arty, they're like, hey, can you stream it? Can you Discord stream it so I can actually see what I'm doing? So that's why I think there's a lot of disconnect with arty. And then with tanking, it's hard because a lot of these new players come into the game and they're like, oh shit, I got a tank, I'm indestructible. And then out of nowhere, they get hit with like 3 cutlers, a bone saw, and then like 4 ATRs, and then their tank is gone, and they get discouraged because of it, because they spent so long and so many hours, resources trying to get this one tank, and now it's gone. That's why I hate driving tanks. I hate it. But I do it to help teach the new people in the Orcs regiment how to actually do the quote-unquote beginner tanking. So I usually say I let new players be gunners, because I don't believe in the philosophy of don't use 40 mil on anything but tanks and structures. I usually tell any new person, hey, we got like 30 rounds in this tank, spray it on everybody. You see a warden running at us, hit him. I don't care if he has a flask, a sticky, or if he's just running at us with a pistol. Waste him. Get used to how fast the turret rotates. Get used to how long it takes to reload. Get used to your range where you can airburst. And then you also indicate with people that are driving, I'll say, when you shoot, I'm going to back up. And that's what I tell new drivers as well. When you see your gunner shoot, the easiest thing for you to do is to back up and count to 6 or count to 8, because that's the general reload time for your gunner. So if you can do that internally, around the 6-7 second marker, you could slowly push up again, unless your gunner or if you have a commander says otherwise.
Also, quick another
these little
thing.
things you gotta just.
Quick another thing to add into that. One thing that I really wish the devs would incentivize: if you are the loader loading that artillery shell, you should get the damage output for that shell that you loaded. I don't know how to implement that. I don't know how to do that, but I think they need a reward for being a loader. That is the worst job of being an arty crew, is being the loader.
Oh, I've done that for 3 hours.
All of us, all the vets,
3 hours straight.
all the vets know. All the vets know, man. When you're just sitting there back and forth,
we do it for democracy.
Democracy, brother, for the Legion. No, but in all seriousness, no, it's not big, and stats aren't everything. But as a new player, like a little guy, man, stats mean something. And to be honest, I think it'd be a good incentive to be like, dude, did you see your damage went up 100,000 for loading that arty last night? Dude, you guys were killing it. Then that gives them that next day, or even when they're doing it, they're like, fuck yeah, I'm doing damage, I'm doing something, instead of just loading and hearing, oh man, you guys are killing it, this is awesome, and then the gunner's going, my numbers have went up by 1 million, like, the loader needs the love, and also, PSA, tell your loaders you fucking love them, alright? Every single, Warden or Collie, maybe not, tell them you fucking love them, because they don't get the gratitude they deserve. Sorry, that's a little tangent I had, but seriously, that's a shitty job.
No, I feel that.
They need it. Also,
I think that's with everything. I think we need to go back to a little bit, like,
love your
more
medics.
Positivity for lodges, your medics, your soldiers, your tankers. Like, in the heat of the moment, everything could get get very stressful
Chippy.
and heated, but we all have to take that moment to realize like we're all trying to do the same goal. We're trying to achieve the same thing. It's just everyone, you'll see multiple regiments, even people not in regiments. Everyone has their own idea on how to take something, and we need to start working together and actually having non-aggression towards like, well, that idea is stupid, or this idea kind of works, but I want to do it this way anyway. I think maybe the wardens do it a little bit better. They're better at kind of organizing things. But I think colleagues need to kind of get on the boat as well of like we need to start really focusing on objectives and coming together and really utilizing the tools that we have. Like if this one regiment is really good with arty, and then this other regiment is really good with their infantry, and one regiment is really good with armor cars, Vics, tanks, like, and we're all in the same hex pushing a goal. Well, let's kind of all work together here. Let's try to get. Okay, so you guys are going to drop arty in like 10 minutes. All right, so when you guys start dropping arty, maybe the infantry starts pushing up on the flank, and then we have the tankers move with them to give the infantry some confidence to push, and then the infantry can also cover the tanks, and then the arty is slow rolling forward, and we're slowly moving forward. I think there needs to be a little bit more communication rather than, well, we're going to do this, you guys go do your own thing kind of deal.
So,
I like that.
My whole 2 cents on it is, right now, with that exact situation / what's going on. And I don't discredit the wardens in any state at all. I think they work very hard, and I think that they do organize and use what they have very well. Like, when you see a full orchestrated warden, whether it's naval attack, whether it's a tank push across the bridge, wardens have really got it down to a science of arty, tank push, infantry rush, go. Like, they're very solid at it. Now, to say that, I have seen more in this war, which is a break war. I've seen more of this war, collies banding together and making more public facilities for tanks, and really using that. It does not matter if you kill this tank, we will have 2 more in 5 minutes. Like, that being said, I think the collies have a set problem within the game that dictates a little bit less unity. That, and what I mean, I'm going to clarify it. We have more to do at the facility than the wardens do, which means there's more facility LARPers, meaning there's more people farming for just facility stuff. You got to keep those facilities defended, so you're having people make M subs. You're having people have to waste BMATs on defenses just for facility stuff. And it's like, well, why not just have one facility that makes everything? It's like, logistically, that's a nightmare. So you have to have multiple strung throughout the map. And then you have to also worry about clans hoarding said things. It's not that I don't think the colonials, and I speak on it like I know everything, but I don't. But the biggest problem, I think, is we have to do so much more at the facility. We're having way more people in the back line to supply the front line, and we're having a lot more struggle getting shit that is made from the back line to the front. It's insanity to me when you're sitting here looking at the stats of it. It's not that necessarily their tanks are better or worse or da-da-da. I'm not even getting into that. But statistically, we have to put more into our tanks to be competitive versus their MPF stuff. And I think that's where our biggest disconnect is happening. We're having to rely on the MPF facility stuff so much more. what's more effective on our front? 5 Spothas or 5 Falchions? It's not a question. What's more effective? 5 Outlaws or 5 Highwaymen? One's MPF, one's a facility. They get the better trade right off the bat out of the MPF. We're struggling logistically, which makes us struggle on the front. That's where I feel like they have to get a better balance between facility and MPF stuff. Have to. The Collies do more in the facility right now than we should. And that is what I want in the dev stream. I didn't get to say what I wanted. I want that. I'm a regiment leader of Bone. I need less facility on... I need less facility. There's a reason they say we have so many more facilities and LARPers. It's because we have to. And I don't think that's me being biased. I think that's just a fact. You see it. You've seen it since War 100 when facilities came in, or 98. I don't know what else to say other than we're just doing more at the facility, and we have to have more facilities. That's got to change. We can't compete with the Iron Fist of the fucking Wardens. They're better tanks out of the MPF. We cannot keep up. We can't. Like, we can do great. We can really show out, and we can do a lot of stuff, but eventually, when you're putting in twice the work for the same outcome, you're going to end up burning out. And that's a statistic that's going around right now, and a word that's going around right, burnout. There's a lot of Collies going to the Warden side, and I think it's a big facility issue. I don't think it's necessarily a player base issue. When you say skill issue, dude, you're talking about thousands of players. I'll sit there and put Chamberlain or myself or Paul. I could name 1,000 or 100 people at least from the Collies that I'd put up against any Warden and feel pretty good about the odds, you know? Skill issue isn't a thing, man. You're talking about you're putting generalization on thousands of people. That's just not even realistic, you know? To say that many people are fucking up and just making it bad, like, and consistently war after war after war, that's just, statistically, it doesn't make sense. You got to stop generalizing the masses, because yes, there are outliers where there are skill issues, and yes, ultra real that also skew the numbers, and yes, there are things that are in the game that, but we got to stop generalizing as well. That's another massive thing. We got to start looking at it like numbers and actual playthrough. Like, I think it's been long enough. We've seen the statistics of why having a heavier MPF faction with a little bit of benefit, maybe here or there, we can't work twice as hard to have equal or slightly worse armor. I mean, and I'm just talking about tanks. I'm not addressing arty. I'm not addressing super weapons. Like, we have to put so many more mats into our base tanks to make them compete like competitive. Which, if we didn't have to, and we could just MPF a better base tank, we could put more into super weapons, and you'd see more. You know, when the one Warden clan had 100 BTs. Like, granted, they worked their ass off, but I guarantee you they didn't have to make 100 Spothas either to hold the front line while they were doing that. They just MPF'd Falchion or Spoth. Oh my god, I can only think of Collie tanks. Outlaws and Silverhands. They didn't have to put anything on the pad. You know what I mean? Like, they get to put more into their super stuff because they don't have to. They can hold with their MPF stuff better. I think that's my message. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I hope my message got through and it makes sense. And Paul, Lund, I want you guys to chip in on that. Like, I think that's what the real underlying issue is right now, is one side I feel like is putting in a lot more work that the other does not. That's what I think. And that's what I want to see change in that. So
there's only so much I could put in. I never touched lodging.
mm-hmm.
So there's not much I can really say that in my experience, like that's way out of my field.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a little bit of like what the word MPF, that's mass production factory.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like hearing that, how tanks can be made in there from that's warden, and how we can't do that. That I do see an imbalance. That I can see. But going back to did you say 100 BTs?
So yeah, there was a warden regiment that made 100 battle tanks, if not more. Their name was Knight, and they made 100 BTs. Like,
damn.
I can't even take it away to say that that's not an impressive feat in and of its own. But I'm just saying, like, just off that, from what I know, like I know for a fact they're not putting materials into tanks. Meaning, because you have to make AS5s for battle tanks. AS5s are every single mat. So, and they take multiple per plus steel, which is pecons and like. Just off that stat alone, to make 100 BTs.
I'm just letting y'all talk before I say something. I'm just letting y'all get y'all's.
Well, we're all gotta. I'm gonna let you cook. I'm gonna let you cook, and I'm gonna let you know. I'm glad you let me
That's
cook.
That's what I'm saying. I was letting y'all go.
But
I was gonna let Panda
I
go
think
if Panda had anything to say.
I think my points are valid though. I like truthfully as a veteran of the game, I'm reaching 2,000 hours, which I know people are like that's it, but 2,000 hours in the game, like I beg to hope you have a good understanding of the game. And I've dabbled in every single part of the game, facility work to making BTs, I've never made a Railstorm cannon, but I've made Hostas, I made an Ares before. I've done the facility stuff. I've done MPF for Logi. I've ran Logi before. I do tanks damn near every war. My God forbid, when the Katara was good, I would do infantry LMG gameplay every day. Like I have my time in the game. God forbid, I think I could almost copyright Mammon in the Moonlight. For fuck's sakes, I sing it every war, you know. It's ridiculous, man. And that's not to say that there aren't problems with the colonial stuff, man, but there's a lot of stuff that I see, you know, that are getting complaints from the wardens, and they're like, they always complain about the Boma. And again, the Boma Stone, it's better than the Harpa. But you have an equivalent that can compete with the Boma. What do we have to compete with against the Flask or ATR? It's not a 5 meter difference thing. And you're gonna sit there, Ignifist. If you're gonna compare the Ignifist to the Flask, again, you might need to play some more and play the other side. And if you're gonna compare the Typhoon to the ATR, again, you need to play some more and you need to understand like it's an imbalance indefinitely. And that's only infantry stuff, not talking about tanks, and God forbid if you want to talk about super heavies. Boys.
Well, let's not go too far off from the tank conversation, because
go for it.
In regards to the Boma and the Warden nade, theirs actually drops you, whereas the Kali nade just causes bleed. So if you're well off enough, you can still bandage out of it. Whereas the Wardens, if they nail you, you drop down.
Well, I mean, you can kill one shot with a Boma too.
Not even when it had its full damage, and they just reduced its damage. You have to, unless the like if you take full health, no bleed damage on each player, the Warden nade will drop you, whereas the Kali will cause a bleed. But if you're already previously damaged, the Kali nade can drop you. The Boma can drop you, but the main purpose of the Kali nade is to cause bleed, whereas the compact grenade um, is just supposed to just drop you down. But I would say back to the tank argument. Um, with the Outlaw and Falchion, like those are the MPF tanks, I think it's still more expensive for the Outlaw. But the whole thing is, I think it's also a cultural issue because the Collies prize their tanks too much, I feel, and are afraid to be a little bit more risky. Anyone that has ever seen me and Chamberlain in a tank, and for the most part, anyone in orcs or any person that is aggressive with their tank tends to do a lot better. Playing super passive with your tank isn't going to benefit you because, yes, the Wardens have the advantage with range with an Outlaw, and this is across the board with tanks or the weaponry that the Wardens have. This game is won with range and accuracy, something that the Wardens have, and definitely because when it comes to the tanks, or even the AT half track, when we get tankettes and then they unlock the AT half track, even though it's 40 meters, having the barrel come across the top gives it, I think, 42 to 43 meters. Well, we are still stuck with the 30 mil tankette that can only shoot 35, I believe, maybe even 40, but you're fighting an AT half track, so the round's going to hit you harder. And plus, they get, even though their armored car is 40 mil, you know, it's still good at PvEing, even though it's kind of, if you get, of course, like you said with the Typhon, you have to place an ISG to take it out. But yeah, I think they changed the damage output after what we saw this war, because usually it would take 30 mils to fully destroy the Warden 40 mil armor car, but this war we seen it where we were dropping 5 to 6 30 mil with pens, and it still wasn't killing the armor car. So I think they might have buffed their armor car a little bit. But I think with like our falchions, yes, it takes a lot to upgrade them, but people have to realize like the whole point of the falchion, it is a throwaway tank. I think it's like 30 something RMATs when you MPF it. Those tanks are supposed to just put 15 rounds in it and just send it. That's why I have never had a problem with us MPF and falchions and just giving them away to even new players that may not fully understand how to tank, because in my own sadistical ways, if you're going to have these new people just run up to a front in a tank line and maybe dive their tank too much or make a bad play, my mindset is, well, now they're just bait. Use the bait, because Wardens are going to take advantage of that. The second they see the new tank get tracked or get disabled, they tend to focus it because we all want that satisfaction of getting the kill. That then falls on everyone else on the Kali side to actually push up and start taking advantage of that. There's no doubt that they get better stuff than us, but that's, the quote-unquote lore aspect of it, even though, in my personal opinion, the lore is no longer accurate because of the changes the devs have made to the vehicles. But I personally, regarding to what I want to see in an update, I really want to see a closed top LTD. Just closed top. I know our engine is still in the front and we can still get fuel, but God, I just want closed top. I just want a closed top LTD. That's all I want. If we wanted something to match the Outlaw, I've always proposed having a 45 meter range Kreneska, because it's literally the counter. The Outlaw has a speed boost just like the Kreneska, but of course the Kreneska is faster. But it is a light tank, whereas I think the Outlaw is an assault tank.
Cruiser. It's its own class.
Oh, it's a cruiser.
Yeah, it's a cruiser tank.
So yeah, but it's still higher than I feel light tank.
Um,
You know, so
can if you still got something to say, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to
no,
bring a point.
I think we can all agree that Warden tanks are superiorly better because the devs have designed them to be line tanks.
So,
Like I think that's something that we forget is Wardens are line tanks and we're supposed to be the hashtag just flank bro tanks.
well,
But
and here's
with
my
that
thing
being
though.
said, most of the maps don't allow that to flank.
Well,
we can't generally do that with some of the maps.
the thing is for me is this game is not real life, and people got to stop thinking that there's going to be a field deploy point where tanks are going to be stationed and sitting. Tanks are either going to sit behind AI or right beside it to protect their ass. One. The just flank bro is a great thing. Like, flanks are an option for both teams. But my biggest thing right now, okay, when you line up both lineups, I don't want a 1-for-1. But you've even said it. There is Warden superior tanks. We are supposed to be the horde.
1v1.
Right? Exactly, and you'll never 1v1. But that even being said, Warden's identity is heavy armor, heavy defensive. If you're going lore accurate, and if you're going lore accurate, we're supposed to be the offensive, speedy, go 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 go. We don't have an identity anymore. One, that's another thing I want addressed in future updates and this update coming. We don't have an identity as the Colonials. The thing we talked about earlier was servers. We can't horde 50 falchions and be a horde faction, or even like more than less 10. If you have 10 falchions on the front, that's 20 people. More or less, the map can't even fit 20 people. Like, even for a push on a flank, you can't fit 20. It gets mashed up, and you end up just making a glob. And if you don't focus stuff, we don't have enough firepower to kill things. Like, again, my whole point in this whole thing right now is, A, we need identity. B, when you line stuff up, like, the Falchion is taking on 2 chassis by itself. It's taking on the Outlaws and the Silverhands with all their variant parts. Outlaw gets the Highwayman and the Thornfall. Silverhand gets the STD and the Chieftain. We get our own assault chassis, assault tank or siege tank chassis, which is the Ballista, which is unfathomably worse than the Chieftain, but it's MPFable, so that is an advantage, and that's asymmetrical. I can be okay with that. But the fact that Falchion is fighting the Silverhand and the Outlaw by itself, problem. The Bardiche is significantly, in my opinion, at this state in the game, is struggling to fight. Hey, J-Ray, is struggling to fight HTDs, guys, and I don't see a solution to killing HTDs behind their bunkers and stuff. And they're MPFable. Like, I don't think people understand, like, the HTD, I'm pretty sure hits harder than damn near all rounds except 75 and 94.5. And I'm pretty sure it might be even a little closer to, I need to look this up, but if I'm right.
You said the STD, right?
Well, no, the HTD, Heavy Tank Destroyer.
Yes, the HTD?
Yeah, the HTD.
Yeah.
HTD, or I just need to look up Foxhole wiki stacks.
Well, because I was going to say, the Bardiche was fine until they added the STD. Once they added the STD, it kind of made the Bardiche, like, it's still viable, but it's not that quote-unquote bulldog in the fight as much anymore because of the heavier round.
So,
like,
Let me look at the damage output of the 68 Hyvo.
While you're looking, I'm just gonna say, I don't know how many people have played. I know Panda, sadly, you won't be able to chime in on this because you only do medic stuff. But I'm just curious as to how many people remember the Bardiche when it had the reload speed of what the new Spatha has now, the like 3 to 4 second reload speed. Like that was, I was okay with the Bardiche being a 35-meter range tank and having a fast reload because it is the Bulldog. It has to close the distance. You have to dive because all of the Warden tanks are 40 to 45-meter range. Even with the Silverhand, yeah, the 68 mil on the Silverhand is only 35 meters, but I think with the barrel being up front, it may be 37. But it still has the 40 mil on top, so you're still closing the gap at 40 meters. So you're taking hits as a Bardiche, just charging in, and the Wardens can keep just reversing. And we all know, for some reason, Warden vehicles are seemingly faster at reversing than our tanks. So we have to dive harder. And once they got rid of the reload speed on the Bardiche, and they never gave the Wardens a negative for that. They only gave us a negative. Now, I think we all forget that, like, I don't know, Berg, you remember last war when we got the Spatha update to make it shoot faster. What did everyone do? Mass produce Spathas, and it goes to your point, we have to put more into the Spatha. But then everyone just started using Spathas to mass take down stuff, and I feel like we just forgot to do that this war. Or maybe it's because we don't have a lot of people playing.
Nah,
But I feel
that's
like
not what's going
we're
on.
not utilizing.
What's
You
going
don't think
on,
it's that? 'Cause I feel like,
at least in my opinion right now, what's going on is they're mass producing more HGDs, and when we go to poke,
yeah,
we're just getting slammed. Like 2 HGD shots, and I couldn't figure out the damage output, but it's 68 Hyvo. Base damage of a 68 is 600 damage. That's what the Bardiche does, whatever. But I think it's a 30% high velocity or 20. Either way,
oh well, I think the Spatha is 20%, so I would
that's
assume
40
theirs is
mil though.
20% as well.
Yeah. Either way, the HGD.
I'm just saying, I would just assume
Yeah.
it's the same.
Yeah. The HGD right now is it's in a point where it's so crazy
No
to me.
shot at 75%.
I'm
no
not
shot.
no, that's not a joke, dude. That might be legit. I'm telling you, the HGD, I heard the statistic, and I don't know if it's true. I heard the HGD, and again, I don't want this to. I'm gonna have Ducky look this up or someone in chat. Yeah, it's 1K damage per hit, which is just a little less than a 75. So, the HGD is what they're doing. It's 1200 damage, perfect. So the Talos, which takes steel cons to make, does 1750 per shot. Their MPF-able tank does 12 for Armats alone. It one-shots disables if it gets a good pen LTD that has no armor. That's what I'm... Panda, you good? Your dude's sleeping. Your dude was sleeping there, bro.
I'm looking behind me.
Oh, your guy fell
Like,
asleep.
chasing
I was making sure you weren't, he was getting, we're talking
Andy's
about
here
tanks.
Talking about tanks. They're like, this isn't medic stuff. I don't want
Whatever, medic schmidt, yeah. No, but it's crazy. Like, the HCD to me is the biggest, like, question mark that we have because
well, the
it's
HTD
insane.
Is like, you see an HTD on a front line and you're just like, well, I guess I'll go to the back and just do Logi, because you already know no one wants to face the HTD. Because the only thing that we have realistically that could do anything to the HTD, and to be honest, it's my favorite tanks are all from one variant. The hatchet. I love the hatchet. I love the Kreneska. I love the LTD, and I love the Vulcan. They're all great when used correctly. But our only tank that can shoot 45 meters is an open top engine front light tank. but we have to use it. It's our only viable tank to actually poke that we
Well,
can use. But
and
of course, a lot of people don't like to use it because it is a light tank. The engine's in the front, so even if it does, like they say, if we do get hit with an HTD in the front, we could get disabled, we could get fueled, we could get tracked easily, and then we could just get grenade flashed out of the top of it. To me, I think having open top vehicles in this game, in my respectful opinion, is the dumbest thing we could do, because even our Percutio armor car 20 mil is an open top. The only open top the Wardens have, I think, is the new STD, because I feel the devs knew if they would have gave them a closed top STD, it would, oof, I would have been an angry little ferret. Let me
well,
just tell you that right now.
just to put it in perspective, and I'm not trashing on, I don't want this to come off as like we're biased towards collies
Well, I'm
being
not
the.
blaming.
Well, I'm
I'm
just
not
saying
blaming the Wardens. It's just this is what the devs have put into the game.
it's just strugglesome
We
for us,
can't
man.
we can't
We're
blame that player
struggling.
base for playing the quote unquote stronger faction. I don't care what anyone says. I've had you know me and Narkin have our talks about the whole, you know, if you want to go have an easy fight, you go play Warden. Collies is the hard mode. And I truly believe that because of, like, our Ignifist used to be decent, and then they reduced the Panda damage on it, and now we can't even penetrate a tree. Our Ignifist bounces off trees, for God's sakes. I would like to see, as Chamberlain has said on his stream, at least make the Ignifist just like the Bonesaw, an almost 100% pen.
Well,
Even though
just
the damage is awful, if we could get a pen that causes a track, like, that would help us so much.
this is all we need, and we talked about this, me and J Ray the other war. I think one of the easiest solutions right now to give us potent AT that could be produced and on fronts and it would not add too much to the game and it's already coded, add impact tremolas. That's literally just add impact tremolas. Just do
That
that.
would be funny to watch.
If
That would
you
be so
literally
funny to watch.
just added that, like, I don't know what the, like, you're sitting there going like, oh my god, that'd be OP, and it's like, dude, you literally get that with the Cutler that does more damage. Like, cry me a river if I don't feel sympathy, dude.
I mean, like, I was streaming when my LTD tank got hit with a Cutler, and we were at 22-23%, and the Cutler killed it outright. I mean, like, I have no sympathy for Wardens because, like I said, this game is all about range and accuracy, and the Wardens have it in spades because when you get shot in
Yep.
this game, what happens? You get stun locked. You instantly stop moving. And since their weapons have a longer range to it, or their weapons have a faster fire rate,
I
and
don't.
their
I don't
weapons
think
just
that's
seem to be more
100% true.
accurate.
I don't think that's 100% true. For certain guns,
You
like
got the Loudcaster, you got the, what is it? Is it
Clancy.
what is the Clancy? Then you go to the Sampo, you go to the
yeah,
Blue
but we
Crow.
also get the Katara. That's 12/7. We also get the Gast, which is more accurate and holds the beam longer. We also get, like, honest to God, outside of AT, I think the infantry is perfect asymmetric. Like, to be honest with you and give full credit to the devs where they sit, infantry gameplay through and through, clean as fuck. Like, I honestly, when you go through and look at, and also we have the best long range rifle with the Kirk Omen, by the way. But just to go with it, like infantry gameplay,
I take the Loudcaster all day.
bro. Argenti, get the out of here, dude. What?
If you want to go Argenti, then I'll go Blakero. I murder people. Don't even. And then they got the Fiddler, they got the Liar, way better than our Lion Claw and Pitch Gun. Honestly, I
Katara.
would love to see love
Katara.
for the Pitch Gun.
Katara.
Because
That's all I need to say. That's literally all I need to say. Even with the nerf that it
the
got,
Katara got nerfed.
even with the nerf it got,
It's good, but it's
slaughters, dude. Oh my god.
It's
And
still good,
it's a machine gun that can still
it's
take
just
down.
like the Dusk.
It's so good.
It's just
So
like the Dusk. They made it so you feel weighted when using it, which I think is like, I understand it, but I think it's dumb because if you go back to your statement before, it's a video game, it's not real life. I still don't like how they made the Dusk super heavy and super chonky for us, and then they did it to the Katara. Like, everyone got upset with the Dusk, and then everyone's like, oh, well, we still have the Katara, so let's use the Katara. Then the devs were like, oh, but now they're using the Katara too much. We got to nerf the Katara. It's like, is that what it's going to be based on us? Whatever the Kali start using the most, we're just going to nerf it because all of a sudden we're just going down the line of what we're finding better. And the pitch gun, I've put like, the pitch gun only has a 15 round mag, and I know I hit somebody with at least 2/3 of a mag, and they didn't even bleed. They just kept coming. And when
I do think
medics
the pitch gun needs
only
some
have
love.
the option, when the medics only have
Yeah.
the option of a pitch gun and a pistol, obviously you want to have a pitch gun. But in the current meta, the pistol is superior. The pistol rocks compared to the pitch gun, in my opinion. So I feel they need to either increase the DPS on the pitch gun or increase the accuracy, because maybe not everyone knows this. When you see those tracer rounds, when you're shooting your gun, that is not where your bullets are going. The tracer rounds are just a graphic. That's not truly where your bullet is going. So you can't actually trust your tracer rounds when you're shooting an automatic weapon.
I mean, here's at the end of the. Go ahead.
The pitch gun, like, I tried using it. I hate it. I do not like it. Like, I will just stick to just the base pistol, and because one, yeah, like the accuracy. I'm using the pitch gun. I'm even firing in burst. The bullets are going everywhere. Like, I'm not even hitting my target, and like even at point, not even at point blank, like close range, I'm shooting nothing. I use the pistol. I at least get good hits, and I can knock them down. And it's funny to see that even when they have an automatic or a dusk, or something automatic, and I take them down with a pistol. It's like, hey, I know with the pitch gun I would lose that fight. So, 100% agree with that.
I want to see love to the 44, the Comedia. I feel like that needs, because it's a fun gun to use, but man, it's such a short range shot.
That thing should be a one-shot kill. I'm not joking.
Well, it is. It technically is a one-shot kill, but you have to get close for it. I've dropped people one shot. Like when you run up to somebody with a shotgun and you just instantly pump them, they sometimes drop, even though depending on it. I think the shotgun should be a one-shot kill within like 10, 15 meters, to be honest. Just getting fucking clacked with that.
Well, here's
it's
just
like it's like with the Hangman.
We got to go back because, like, God forbid, we just went all the way from tank imbalance to rifle imbalance to shotgun imbalance to, like, even just to go back. The one thing, again, though,
Let's talk about the medic imbalance, Berg. How come our medics are so identifiable on the front line?
That's actually, yes.
Or not.
Yes. Me and Panda talked about that.
The real issues to bring Panda into.
Yeah.
Panda, what do you feel about that?
No, that is so true, and it's like, if you can find that image again, Berg, please.
Oh,
because
yeah, I'll work on it.
Like, it was showing all like the different outfits. There are like four warden outfits that all look similar, and like you could tell which was the medic on the calling. Like, if you just swap out like the helmet with a white shiny helmet with a big plus on it, or even just have a white shiny helmet. Boom, right then and there. Like, the only difference from a warden outfit to just or a warden medic outfit to just a regular warden outfit is just the backpack. And when are you going to see their back? you're never gonna see their back because you're always facing forward. Like you're always facing each other. You always see their face. So how can you tell? And even with I don't I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know infantry like with the wardens. I wouldn't know if they're trying to find a medic. You know, them trying to call out to a medic. It's just they're calling out to anyone. Versus then them seeing like, oh hey, versus with us on
You ready?
Collies, you can tell where a medic is. Mm-hmm.
Pictures
You
coming
can
up
tell where a
now.
medic is with
So
the
right
yeah.
here. So we were looking at it and we're like, these 4 uniforms are identical besides a patch, a backpack, and a backpack. These are identical. These are not. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy how identical all 4 of their uniforms for the frontline look. And then that's their tanker, recon parka. This is tanker, engineer. I want to say this. No, that's engineer. That's old school grenadier.
Might be Grenadier.
Yeah, that's old school grenadier. Medic, recon, legionnaire, oil coat, parka, tanker. But yeah,
I mean,
this
like,
needs
they
a
could've
white
just-
cap, dude. This needs a white cap, bro. Like, God
Well,
forbid.
you don't even have to do a white cap. What you do is you give them a blue helmet like our colleagues do, and you give it a red cross, or you give it a blue cross, vice versa. And then you just do the same for the colleagues. You just give us a green helmet with a red cross, or a white cross on it, type of deal, just to vice versa. Or if they both get a white helmet, they get a blue cross, we get the green cross to signify warden and collies, as it is now with the collie.
But that's something
Because,
that
yeah,
that's ridiculous, dude.
Because war crimes happen a lot more for collies because the medics can be identified so easily on a battlefield with collies.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not like it's something small, but like, come on, man. Like, that's gotta be implemented, That's pretty big.
Yeah, I'm still curious to see if we'll get what Chamberlain's talking about, a Navy outfit.
Yeah, I'm
That'll be
hoping
pretty
that comes in
interesting.
too. One thing that I've been trying to like get in for a minute, I just need the devs to communicate more, dude. Like, I think as a community, that would be
they
the
used
most
to.
helpful and healthy thing ever. Like, I'm going to go look over here on the Discord. Oh, I can't because I'm in here. I want to see how long it took for them to have their announcement of Last War to this announcement of the dev reveal. It's 139 days since we've gotten anything about anything. Not even update, not like 139 days since we've heard a word from the devs other than they were going to be late last week.
Well, I think the devs used to do, if it wasn't monthly, like bi-weekly dev talks, but as the game progressed, they stopped doing it, and then Anvil Empires kind of popped up, and then, their team kind of split, and having people do that, but it would be nice to hear some communication. I mean, look at all these new games coming out where the devs are actually vocal.
Helldivers.
Just on Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah, Helldivers is really good.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just had it. Apparently, ever since you shared your screen, it's now doubled our voices. Or you screen shared. That's what happened.
Damn it.
Unless we already went past that.
That should be over because I stopped screen sharing.
Oh,
I hear it. I'm listening now. I can hear it. It's okay. Everyone just listen to the echo.
Wait, so it's still happening?
still happening?
Yeah. Someone in chat, let us know, please.
Is it still happening, chat? And is it happening in the Twitch or is it happening on the Discord?
I'm listening to the stream right now. I hear double. The stream on Twitch.
Okay, so it's not in Discord, it's just in Twitch. Okay, give me 1 second. This should fix it. Okay, you shouldn't hear anything anymore. I'm going to pop right back to the podcast. Twitch, we good?
Test. Nah, it's still here double.
Dude, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like they said, it's only happening to me and Panda. Maybe we gotta leave and come back. Even though it's not in Discord, it's just on Twitch.
Maybe it's in your OBS. Check if you're having like a double thing.
Okay, try that. No. Okay, what about now? Go ahead and talk, boys.
Test.
That should fix it because I don't have any desktop audio anymore.
Oh, wait, hold on.
That should have just fixed it.
Now I can hear.
Fixed. Yep, got it. All right, we're good. Sorry about that, guys. Had a little bit of technical difficulty. We're good, though.
I mean, what's having technical difficulties when talking about Foxhole? Come on now. It's bound to happen.
See, hey, but look, guys, communication. We talked it out.
Damn, he brought it home right there.
Man, see? Easy as that, boys. Shit. No, I think everything we've talked about has been really solid in what kind of we want to see, and then we kind of went into balancing and stuff. But I mean, is there anything else you really want to see from the dev stream? Like what you're hoping for or you hope is in there?
I guess my thing is the same thing. It's just I just want to see quality of life stuff for builders, for late game. It's like what we have, the ideas for the health of the game for longevity, it is those with me building, late game logi building, the M subs, possibly more early, mid, and late game Vix, a better rock, paper, scissors style counters for the Warden and Collies, you know, because we can't have a symmetrical thing. We have to have, well, their gun does this, so then our gun has to counter it doing, like, our equipment has to counter each other. There needs to be a better rock, paper, scissors format. Of course, a larger server. I think we all want that. And from what I've heard, that's the whole point of Anvil Empires, is to create their own, because they have their own engine for Anvil Empires, and hopefully they will implement that to Foxhole somehow. I don't think it's going to happen because it's two different systems. I think they would have to come out with a new Foxhole game, you know, Foxhole 2.0 type of deal. But, you know, I think that would help with the game immensely, is the hex population. Because it's not fun when a new war starts, the fighting's on the front, new players show up, all of a sudden they're like, I just want to get into the action. Oh dang, this hex is queued. I'm 10th in line, 20th in line, 30th in line, and they're sitting there for 30, 45, an hour. And some people will say, well, don't wait in queue, go to another hex or go to the back line to do logi. I understand the frustration, but at the same point, you gotta let people play the game, especially if they're new, and the most fun they're gonna have unless they're used to playing like factorial style games with facilities and shit like that and doing logi, like most people just want to run and gun on the front. And it's not fun when these new players that would just want to run and gun can't get into these servers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, you're not long. You're not wrong there. Another thing that I also think would be really cool, that I talked to Hazy about, I believe, was a better communication system. Not like the VoIP, but what I meaning is like the look here, over there, medic, da da da, the H, whatever's. I think that could be a little better, and I
think it would be
also,
cool. Just imagine hitting medic and it actually would show an arrow to a medic where it is on the radial,
True.
on your top right. Kind of like how when you have a squad lead, it shows the yellow triangle where your squad lead is.
mm-hmm.
You just make it a green arrow or something like that for collies, a blue arrow for wardens type of deal. So when someone says medic, like yeah, like if everyone spams medic, you'll see multiple, but then it comes down to where does the medic want to go? They know if they head to the left, they're gonna find someone. They head to the right, they're gonna find someone. They go keep going straight, they'll find. So it gives you the option of kind of because then all of a sudden you get these groups working together because I think that's the fun part of me being on a front when I have a handful of medics. If you're on a front line and you know you only have a handful of medics, usually medics on general will set themselves out to, all right, you guys stay on the left flank, I'll stay on the right flank, and then we have one person in the middle. And if someone new comes up, or maybe your side isn't active, you kind of just go back and forth and help.
Oh my god. Boundless Int just popped into my chat and said, "Man, I just want to play American Truck Foxhole Simulator." Like, oh my god, dude.
I mean, like, you already that's just
All right, hey,
have fun
real
doing
shit,
the logi.
real shit. When are we gonna be able to put get a hitchable trailer that can carry another shipping container on a flatbed? When's that coming in?
Mm.
Just saying.
Oof.
Just
I don't know
saying.
if they would want to do that.
2 shipping containers, Logi
That
B's a little
might
easier.
be.
What's it called?
Well,
Like a double? A dually? No.
Oh, you just made me think of something. Remember the good old days when we had the small storage container,
Mm-hmm.
but we wouldn't like you would be able to place it at a bunker, but you would have long pull times even with the
Mhm.
Logi truck.
Yeah.
Imagine they bring that back, but they give you because you know how we have the liquid transfer station now, right? So you could put the liquid container onto the transfer station and submit the diesel, petrol, whatever it is, into liquid transfer station. Imagine having that on your base, and you're able to submit a small storage container into your base directly as long as you have that garrison piece built next to it.
All right.
So you
Now,
could have people bring up storage containers worth of, instead of just doing a 15 crate Logi truck, you could do 30 crates.
guys,
Hmm.
idea. Hello. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for dinner. That's awesome. Homemade lasagna. I love that. So, big idea, though, actually.
Where's mine?
Hey, it's in the kitchen, dude. Just go grab your plate. So here's the real big idea, right? All right, ready for this? So we've talked about having now a spot or a bed or a flatbed spot or a pad that would allow you to drop small shipping containers and automatically deposit into the into the bunkers. You've also talked about a medical bunker piece that would allow you to have bodies come into the medic building and then be deposited into the bunker. Now, imagine if they had another bunker piece that allowed tanks to pull up to it, and if there was 40 Miller 68, automatically load the tank up. You have a drive up pad, that it just automatically starts loading tank rounds into your tank. And that's another piece of the
I
bunker.
can see that. Or they could just do what they do.
And a
with
refuel.
You should just be able to pull up your tank to the bunker and hit E, shift E and pull.
Well,
I think with your tank.
I think there's multiple ways to skin the cat, but that idea though would if you're on a heavy front line and there's a bunch of tanks pulling up to your base, that would stop congestion because you could put it on the backside where tanks could only get to it, and then you could also have it to where, you're not having 30 people at the doorway just pulling shells, or you don't have tanks pulling right up to the doorway and picking up shells.
You remember the days when the gates couldn't be opened by tanks, so you had to jump out of your tank to physically open the gate, drive through, then physically close it? Those were fun days. Yeah, those were fun days.
Yeah.
Trust me, when they added the ability for...
It was amazing.
Because it was all offensive vehicles, you had to literally jump out, open the gate, drive through, and close it, because that was...
It was the same for bridges.
Automatic closing gate.
It was the same for bridges.
So you actually had to physically get out. Yeah. Fun times. Yep. But it's the same thing. They could do that with tanks, where it's like you could just, even if they don't do the passive, it'd be so much easier just to pull up in a tank, be able to hit the bunker, and then pull the BMATs, pull the ammo in. If not, having a pad that you could go sit on, and it just slowly loads the ammo in that way. Like, yeah, maybe it'd be a little bit faster to load it yourself because there needs to be a trade-off. But at least if you have a pad, you're out of the way, like you said. You won't have the congestion in the front of a bunker.
And to top that, another thing that happens is, like, say you pull your tank up to get shells loaded. Usually when you go back to base to grab shells, you're grabbing BMATs, gas mask, things that you've missed from your kit. Multiple other things that you can be doing, fueling your tank, XYZ. Having, one of those small shippable... not shippable, towable fueling carts beside that area would also, but again, that would just be cutting time for tanks to get out of the shop, back to the front, out of the shop, back to the front, go, 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 go. And you're also, the biggest thing, not blocking the road from Logi. For the love of God, I can't tell you how many roads get congested because tanks are pulling through, Logi trucks, heavy Logi trucks, battle buses, half tracks are all trying to get every which way in God's creation, and you're just sitting there as the medic man sitting in there going, I'd like to get out and go heal people. No? Oh, okay. I'll just go fuck myself, thanks. Go through the back door! Like, you hear that guy. And then there's the other one. Pull a kit for 5 minutes and then get ran over. Like, I don't know how long it takes to pull a medic kit. I don't do that shit, but I love you guys that do it. Yeah. I've never put a medical kit on, by the way.
Wow, this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could not be me.
Why do I need to? I got Panda Lun. I got Panda Lun. Why would I need it? Just saying.
Because if you want something done right, you do it yourself.
Damn, you hear that, Panda? You said you ain't doing your job. About them apples.
I felt that.
He hit you in the feels there, dude. But if there's anything else, land it now.
One thing.
Go for it.
People, I remember watching hold on, let me get it real quick. Where is it? The gentleman Robert Loves Games, he did ask a lot of people what he felt everyone needed, is looking forward to. Everyone that said planes needs to shut up. They haven't balanced anything in this game correctly yet. Please do not add flying mechanics. We are not ready for that headache.
What do you mean? You don't want to see B-52s coming over your base and, shekel bombing the shit out of your house?
If everything else in this game was balanced decently, I'm not even saying perfect, but decently, and we still didn't have the quote-unquote black holes when you build trenches or certain bunker pieces that you fall into and you can't get out of.
So
That
you're
haven't been patched out in years. We are not ready.
you're
for
telling
plays.
me
I'm sorry.
you don't want to call a 500-pound stratagem right down on someone's base? Like, for real?
I would love to, but the headaches that would come with it, because you already know there would be mishaps. There would be
I
Guys
can
try to
already see
drop
the
a bomb
kamikazes,
on the
dude.
Warden's front lines. All of a sudden, you lag out. Oops, we dropped it on the Collie's front lines. Friendly fire. Friendly fire tab is filled with 52 kills. Person can't fly anymore.
Oh my god.
Instantly
have the mini nuke, have the atomic bomb in your plane. Guys, I DC'd! No! No! Kamikaze's dead! No! Oh god.
We need. I tell everybody. There's a lot of stuff we're probably gonna have to wait for Foxhole 2 if they ever do it. Hopefully they do. Because
Maybe they could just do a
agree.
integration like Fortnite did, because we're on
Well, they're gonna
Unreal. They could just do the integration and be a massive update, you know?
Yeah, if they get it to,
That's
if they
probably
can
what
get
they'll do.
Foxhole to, into Unreal Engine 5, they probably will. They can, but they have their own engine. That's the thing, though. They created their own engine.
That's what they need,
That's
though.
the whole Anvil
They
Empires.
need that, though. And they can
But-
still swap it over because, like EVE Online, they have their own engine. Like these MMOs, these massive ones where it's really interactive player bases, they have to have their own engines to integrate their own play styles because they can't. We're running into a bunch of problems, like I said earlier. And I'll probably post a link to this video later. They're talking about how all these games, you have to have your own engine. And I'm actually very thankful you told me that Anvil's make their own engine, because that's going to be their testing ground. I guarantee it, because Foxhole's their baby. They already made money on this. It's already got a player base. It's already been, like, I can guarantee you they're going to care about both games, but Foxhole's their bread and butter. Why would you already go from a successful game and put all your chips into a new basket? You know what I mean?
I mean, have you seen the YouTube trailers of Anvil? It's yikers. Homie, it is.
Really?
I know in our Discord I posted a recent one from Robert Loves Game, and I'm sorry, like, that I love medieval stuff too. I love medieval combat and all that, but that game is not it. They're trying to, this is totally off topic for Fox, but they are trying to make it an RPG as well. Like, they added a raven, and now that you got to kill the raven to get this certain dark bark or whatever. Like, it's so weird what they're trying to do with Anvil Empires, and it just, like, you already have the proper routine you have to do in Foxhole. Just stick to it. All you guys, like, I keep harping so much, just fix the issues you have, like the basic issues, and Foxhole would be so much better. And then you can transfer that to Anvil. Don't try to redo the wheel. You already formed the wheel. It's at this point, now you just need to, well, we have the stone wheel, let's try to make it into a more viable wheel like we have nowadays. Modernized wheel. Like, but
Well, this ain't
the
even
only thing I
Foxhole,
can
whatever.
remember comes from it.
We're talking about the engine.
Well-
And the engine, if they're going to test it with Anvil,
Well,
is
because
fine.
the engine is supposed to hold 500 v 500, I think. So that's what I'm hoping they could bring over. Because I think if we had hexes that were 500 v 500, oh, buddy fights would be so much fun.
Oh, they would.
Naval would be so much better, because then you would be able to do large scale landings. The dreams.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Hold on.
people.
Can you imagine the amount of gunfire and artillery fire and arty? Dude, have you guys, like, seen the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan? That would be real. dude, you would be in the boat, be like, let's go, boys, blah, 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 blah. And then you would get a half-track pull-up right on your canoe.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Berg. We got to hit you with the 55-second death timer. Sorry, homie.
Crippled. I'm crippled. No, please. Please, no more. Anyway,
Yeah.
I mean,
Death timer should be maxed out 10, 15 seconds. That's it.
I think 15 was more. I think 15's realistic. I think it's a solid timer. 15 seconds, you're not going out there and being an idiot over and over and over. It's still punishing you, but it's not too much time to where you're like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I never liked the death timer as being a balance issue. The balance is the Logi getting shirts to you. That's the balance.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be punished for a game that is meant for us to go to a front and push and die. You know, it's supposed to be live, die, repeat. It's such a huge, like, we're seeing it
Like
now
what?
with, yeah. Like, we see it now on fronts when we start noticing that we have 5 to 10 second death timers and the wardens had like 40 to 50-second death timers. We were able to massively push them out of the hex because we had those quick respawn timers. So by the time they get out, we've already pushed 2 or 3 of our characters and died 2 or 3 times, but we're gaining ground doing it. So you have to get rid of that and just make it a steady
Killing key.
15 seconds for everybody, and then you rely on Logi bringing shirts to the front.
It's all about killing key components, killing AI, taking trenches, and if you have the faster respawn, you have more chances to do that. It only takes one time of a bayonet man getting through to the core to really fuck up the repairs. It only takes one guy getting in the trench and holding it for 10 seconds for the rest of the team to get in there. It only takes one rush. One Boma, one perfect Boma, one perfect Harpa, the God tier gas nade, the perfect 5-man flask rush, the perfect ATR, like, takes one, like, key moment to really fluctuate how the front's going to go from that point forward. And because you know what I'm talking about when you're trying to build a bridge and you're holding on that other side and they've been in a trench and they're just slaughtering you every time you get over there. But the one time you get in that trench and you hold it down and it's such a bad, like, Uno reverse, it's irreversible what that does, because now you're giving your guys time to get up without getting killed because they're focused on you. You're letting your guys take out AI. You're letting your guys wrench. You're letting your guys push tanks. Like, whatever the case is, when you're the one taking the aggressive pact, you're making them fluctuate. Like, you might be making that one play that's like, holy cow, that was it, you know? So yeah, I mean, death timers are huge. They're huge. And maybe there's something they could add in the core of bases that could fluctuate that too for faster timers, like lockers with kits, you know, or whatever. Lockers would, if you have so many lockers in your, you know what I'm talking about with the internal upgrades. If you have so many lockers, it locks your respawn timer to X amount.
Yeah, that's true. Modification. Yeah.
Modifications could have a big effect on that if they want. But, this is where, hey, what's up, Snail? Welcome in. This is where we already kind of hit 1 and 2. We're kind of in the 3 question right now. Just general Foxhole stuff. If you guys have anything else to say or want, you know, whatever, here's the time. Chat. This is kind of when I open up to you guys. If you guys have heard anything you like, dislike, I want you guys to open up, talk to us here. Boys, the stage is free. You know, this is kind of where the ending recap. Talk about everything that's been going on. Talk about some more stuff. I'm not closing the mic down. I'm just saying, you know, this is where it's open talk. I don't have a point to it anymore. You know, if you have anything Foxhole related you want to talk about, then Here's your time. Shoot. Pew, pew. You got anything, Panda?
Something I got is when a medic is healing you, stay still, let him fully heal you up, and cover him.
Touche.
Take the bullet for him. If there's someone shooting at him, do not run away. Stay there, take the shots, and fire back. And that's about it.
Paul, what do you got?
The one thing I'll say for collies as a whole, not all new players are alts. Be patient, be kind, learn how to teach, because it's not easy for everyone to learn. It takes time, you have to have patience.
Both of those are very wise. I don't know how I top that other than kill Warden.
There we go, he topped it.
Mm-hmm.
No, Warden guys, if you're in here, devs, anyone you guys listening, I only bring all this stuff up, and I know Panda and Paul, we only bring this stuff up because we love the game, and we want it to be a fair, even thing. Even when it's not fair and even like it is right now, we're still playing your game, and we love it. So it's not like a bad, we're slandering. Like, I only made this podcast because I want this game to grow. I want this game to be what I think it can be. And for any viewers in here, if you guys want to come chat on this podcast sometime, this is not just for streamers. This is for the Foxhole community to come talk. I want this to be a community thing. I want more people in here. I had about 15 guys in here, 15 girls, guys. If you guys got buddies that want to come talk about Foxhole, Warden, Collie, medics, I don't even call them one side or the other. They're kind of just good people. If you guys got people, bring them in here, man. That's what I want out of this podcast. I want you guys to go watch them on the YouTube videos when you're working out. Come have a laugh with us. Come talk with us. That's what the Boneyard's here for. I want Foxhole to be great. I want the Collies to be great again. And I want to kill Wardens. But again, I want someone to fight, and I want someone to fight with me. That's kind of my ending thing here, guys. I think that was a great podcast. A lot of good ideas again. I'm going to be posting this YouTube video immediately after. So feel free to go share and like that, guys. Please drop some subs. It really helped me out. Thank you guys for being here. That was really awesome. And just last check. Anything you guys got to say to everyone?
Nope.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for being here, and I think that's the end of the podcast, guys. Appreciate y'all. See ya.
Yeah, it was fun.